from Marine Aquarium and Regional Center, Zoology Survey of India. I welcome to Dr. P. Santanam sir, Associate Professor, Department of Marine Science, Paridasan University, Trichy. We are really thankful to for the taking the time out of his busy schedule to attend the webinar. Once again, I warm welcome to all participants for the webinar. Now I request our Honorable Director, Dr. Kailash Chandra sir, Zoological Survey of India, message for the webinar. Please, sir.
Very good afternoon to everyone.
Hi, sir.
Very good afternoon to everyone, all the participants. Dear Dr. Raghunathan, Dr. S. Balakrishnan, Officer in charge of Marine Aquarium Regional Center, Digha. Dr. S.P. Parida, who is the resource person. Mr. Parida is Associate Professor, Faculty of Zoology, CUTM Bhubaneswar. Dr. Parida, we welcome you for the Zoological Survey of webinar, third webinar on the marine fauna.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. P.C. Tudu, Miss Devjani Devsi Dham, our scientist B. Thank you, Parida sir. Welcome. And as you know, today we are going to have a third webinar organized by Marine Aquarium Research Center, JSI Digha. This is a happy moment for all of us that many of our students, participants across India, they are very much interested to listen about the marine fauna by the various experts. Dr. S.P. Parida is kind enough to spare his time to share his information on the baleen whales. Many of you may be knowing that JSI is one of the oldest organizations in India, and it's only served the nation for more than 104 years, and it has got 16 regional centers throughout India. We have been working for all the states, union territories, all the protected areas, all the ecosystems, and there are few regional centers which are fully dedicated for the study of various ecosystems, fauna, and like Marine Biological Research Center in Digha, Marine Aquarium Research Center Digha, and Marine Biological Research Center Chennai, then Andaman Nicobar Regional Center Port Blair. So including headquarters, they are dedicated to the study of the marine fauna of the country. Dr. Balakrishnan has been organizing this webinar, and this is the third in the series. And the title, I think, for the webinar series on the unique marine fauna. This is the third in the series, and today Dr. S.P. Parida would be giving a presentation on the unveiling facts on the recently stranded Bright's whale in the Mandarmani Digha. So many of you may not be knowing that this is the species which is stranded in Digha and in many other beaches across the country. And there are actually a lot of studies already carried out by various institutions in India as far as the marine diversity is concerned. But JSI has been focusing on the entire marine fauna of the country. And one book has already published by Dr. C. Raghunathan and his team, that is starting from the Protozoa to Mammalia, and that includes 20,444 species of the marine species across the country. There are 4 or 5 regions which are very rich in the marine biodiversity. That is first Andaman Nicobar Islands, then Gulf of Kutch, Gulf of Mannar, then Lakshadweep Islands. These are the 4 major areas. There are many other coral reef areas where work is already going on as far as the monitoring work is concerned. One very interesting information which many of the participants may not be knowing, that our JSI has got the genesis from the Indian Museum from 1814 onwards, and already more than 206 years are completed And our ZSI was established from 1st July 1916 onwards. So we have received lot of our specimens from the Indian Museum, and the bride's veil, that is Balinoptera edeni, which was described by Anderson in 1879. That holotype is present with us, and many of the scientists are after that particular holotype to study from where it was collected. That was actually found stranded at the West Bengal itself, the region of when it was the British India, and the holotype in the Bay of Bengal was stranded. That is the Thaibi Chong Burma region. That is now the Myanmar, and there are many species of the whales which have been studied from our Indian region. There are many species of the marine species which are included under Wildlife Protection Act. Around, I think there are 26 species which are included under Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 of the marine species. They are included under Wildlife Protection Act, and there is a lot of awareness, but how to study them, that is the challenge for all of us. There are 3 species very, very important, like Irrawaddy dolphin, the gangetic dolphin, and the dugong. Dugong is the marine one, and this is only found in the habitat of the grease seagrass. So once the seagrass area is not at all there, then at least this particular species may become extinct anytime. Although more than 75 species of our marine species pertaining to order Cetacea have been recorded from the country, but these whales, porpoises, and dolphins, including dugong are the very important one, and their population is still not known from our country. So we have to understand the status of all these species across the country. This is a very important program for us to have the awareness about all the whales, dugong, and dolphins across our marine area in the peninsular region. And when this particular bride's whale was recorded from Mandarmoni Digha, lot of actually rumors were there that it may be different species. It is the mink whale, sometimes it's a bride's whale, sometimes different names were just taken up, told to the even newspaper also, and nobody could confirm that what the species is there. So I'm happy at least Marine Aquarium Regional Center scientists, they came forward, they have gone to the area and they could identify the species along with the other scientists, and then at least this is very much a difficult part. Most of the species, when they are in their habitat, it's very difficult to identify them. So there is very much need for this awareness program among the participants and the researchers, NGOs, so that whenever these species are stranded along the beaches, I think they could, if they are alive ones, they could be, I think, rescued. For that also, we can have a team in all these areas. One story I would like to tell you, many of you may not be knowing that I have also worked in Andaman Nicobar Islands. I was there for more than 7 years from 1991 to 98. And in few occasions, I got opportunity to at least go to the areas where this our whales were stranded. They were offshore area. At least once in 1992, when the blue whale was stranded in one of the beaches in Port Bay, nearby Port Bay, and after that, several whales also visited the area. So since then, I have been just having a lot of interest on these species. There are different species of whales, mink whale, there are some carnivorous whales are also there, which feed on the fishes and other whales. So it's very, very interesting. Dr. Parida is already there, who would be sharing the information on entire our baleen whales. Dr. Raghunathan is there, Dr. Tudu, Balakrishnan. I'm happy, I think it's a group of people, they would be sharing the information. With this introduction, I wish all the best to the participants, and to our speakers who have joined this webinar. And hopefully our Digha, our Marine Aquarium Regional Centers would be organizing many more such programs in the future for the interest of the students and the researchers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. And extremely sorry for the delay. We are very new to this system of online webinars. So I now request Dr. C. Raghunathan, Scientist and Joint Director of Zoological Survey of India, to sir, please give your message and inspire all the participants who have joined from 21 states across India and 3 union territories apart from Nepal and Kuwait. Sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Director of Zoological Survey of India, Dr. Kailas Chandra. Today's guest to Zoological Survey of India, Professor Siva Prasad Parida, Professor from the Department of Zoology, Centurion University, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, Dr. Balakrishnan, Officer in charge of Marine Aquarium Regional Center, Zoological Survey of India, Digha, all the officers and staff of Marine Aquarium Regional Center, Zoological Survey of India, Digha, and the participants, those who are online. At the outset, on behalf of Zoological Survey of India, as well as Marine Aquarium Regional Center, I welcome you all for this webinar on the baleen whales, which is being organized by Marine Aquarium Regional Center for the benefit of the needy. During this occasion, I would like to give brief outline about the marine mammals of the world for the benefit of the audience, those who are participating in this meeting. As all of you know that marine mammals are one of the best sentinel organisms in the marine and aquatic ecosystem because of their long lifespan, and secondly, they can store the large quantity of fat in their bodies. These fat bodies of the animals are serving as a bioaccumulated anthropogenic toxins. Marine mammals in general, they are whales, they are seals, or dolphins, or otters, or polar bears, or porpoises, or walrus. These are all falling under the marine mammals category. However, even though they are having informal groups, they are united together in the marine environment because all these animals are coming to marine environment for feeding purposes. As of now, there are about 130 species of marine mammals have been reported from the world, of which, as our director mentioned, 26 species are reported from our Indian waters. Even though the distribution of marine mammals are worldwide, throughout the world oceans, we can find marine mammals. However, their distribution is patchy, which is coincide with the primary production of the oceanic region. Say, for example, high density, high distribution, high diversity of marine mammals we can find in the 40-degree latitude, the 40-degree latitudes of both north and south. It means the high productivity, high primary productivity could be observed in the 40-degree latitudes of the world. So the countries like North America, South America, and the Asian region, and also Australian region only, you can find much diversity of marine mammals throughout the world oceans. The marine mammals are plays a vital role for the enhancing the fishery production in the oceanic region. The process of enhancing the fishery production in the oceanic region is called as whale pumping. Whale pumping is not the process, nothing but the animals brought the nutrients as well as nitrogen from the bottom of the sea to the surface of the sea through this behavior called diving. In a single dive, one whale can go up to 300 meters to 760 meters in search of food, especially sperm whale. During this process, from the bottom of the sea, they are bringing the nutrient to the surface of the sea, in which the phytoplankton is getting benefited out of these nutrients and proliferating well, and it leads to high secondary productivity, and in turn, it leads to high productivity of fishery potential. That's what is called as whale pumping. And the second one, all the whales are defecating in the surface of the water. That is also important phenomenon. The fecal matter of the all whales having much content of nutrients, especially nitrogen and iron. These two components are these nutrients are responsible for enhancing the primary productivity, and it leads to secondary productivity, and also it leads to fishery productivity of this ocean. The second, the hunting of whales is one of the critical problem. Hunting of the whales started by the Aboriginal people for the purpose of food and other resources. Hunting was started, especially commercial hunting was started way back in 10th century. However, this hunting was intensified in the later part of the 19th century. As a result, the decline of the whales population could be seen. And in the beginning of the 20th century, the hunting has further intensified. As a result, some of the key species totally extinct. Say, for example, blue whale. Last 100 years alone, more than 3,70,000 individuals of blue whale have been hunted by the hunters or whaling through whaling process. Now, the present days, the total number of individuals of blue whale is available only 100 to 200 individuals. That is less than 5% of the original population it was available 100 years ago. As a result of severe hunting as well as whaling, today we lost 3 species of marine mammals. The one is sea cow, and the second one is Japanese lion also. Japanese sea lion also became extinct, and Caribbean monk seal also extinct. There are 3 species totally extinct because of the stellar sea cow. That is stellar sea cow. Because of 3 continuous hunting and whaling, we lost 3 species of hunting. The International Union for Conservation of Nature identified that about 37% of the marine mammal species under the threat of extinction, and another 40% species yet to be assessed because there is no sufficient data is available to assess the status of their population in the world ocean. Apart from that, today about 32 species of marine mammals already brought under the IUCN Red List. IUCN also stated that the species, those who are living in this coastal marine area, as well as that rich productivity area under the face of great danger, in the face of extinction, because human intervention is very much high in this particular area. Recently, one paper has been published in this Science journal, in which one paper they referred about 1,780 papers published exclusively on the marine mammals during the period of 25 years from 1991 to 2016. That the paper suggested that about 119 species of marine mammals are getting affected by incidental bycatch. Again, 99 species of marine mammals are getting affected by marine pollution. 89 species of marine mammals are getting affected by direct harvest, and about 86% of the marine mammals are getting affected by vessel strike, especially due to heavy shipping traffic, and about 61% of the marine mammals are affected by the hunting as well as other fishing processes which is being made by the human being. This is the report given by that particular paper, and also it is mentioned that about 51% of the total marine mammal habitat also being disturbed by the human being for the several processes such as offshore drilling as well as offshore structures being constructed, where in which marine mammal habitats are prevalent. These are the important factors in which marine mammals population is getting depleted. And in order to avoid the decline of the marine mammal population, International Whaling Commission formed a proclamation as well as made an announcement on moratorium to start
Yes, please unmute and do not touch the screen. Requesting the participants not to touch the screen. Please unmute the OC Tech website.
Sir, unmute your mic, sir, please. Sir, please unmute your mic.
So if you can do it from there. It's okay, sir.
It's okay now?
Yeah, yes.
Where is it? I don't know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Please tell me.
So what action did you take? Then you tell me that I can start from there once again. Have you heard about the science magazine? I was talking about science magazine. I was talking about the science magazine, science journal, in which they published a paper about the status of whales across the world by covering 1,780 papers that published exclusively on marine mammals, and it mentioned that about 119 species of marine mammals are under the threat of incidental bycatch. About 99 species of marine mammals under the threat of marine pollution, and about 89 species of marine mammals under the threat of direct harvesting, and 86 species of marine mammals under the threat of vessel strike caused by the heavy shipping traffic across the major shipping routes in the world oceans, and about 61% of the 61 species of the marine animals are getting hunted as well as getting affected by the fishery practices which is being made in the international waters. So in order to curb the declining the population of the marine mammals, the International Whaling Commission made a proclamation as well as moratorium to stop the killing of whale or whaling process in the international waters in the year 1986. Even though the moratorium made in the 1986 for stop whaling process, there are 3 countries got sanctions. The first country is Norway. The Norway got sanctioned to kill about hundreds of minke whales every year. Likewise, Iceland also got sanctions to kill about 150 fin whale and hundreds of minke whale, and Japanese also got sanctioned to kill about hundreds of minke whale every year. This is what happening. Apart from that, illegal trade of marine whale meat also being happening in Japan and other countries. Probably the United States of America is the first country to concern about the safeguard the whales in their water. They enacted the Act, Marine Mammal Protection Act in the year 1972, October 1972. United States of America enacted the Act, Marine Mammals Protection Act. This act prevents the whaling as well as killing and hunting of whales in the United States waters, and also ban on the export and import of the whale meat in the United States of America. India is our country in which we got about 26 species of marine mammals, but the studies on the marine mammals in our Indian waters is very meager, maybe because of the lack of dedicated facility to undertake the surveys on the marine mammals in our country. Marine mammals in our country also under the great danger because of the extensive fishing practices which is being extended into the exclusive economic zone of our country. In order to protect the 26 species, Government of India also brought all these species under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, of which most of the species under the Schedule 1 category, and some of the species under Schedule 2 category. So most of these, all these species are enjoying the complete protection in Indian waters. The mammals are coming to Indian waters, they are fully protected. At the same time, the mammals are going to Japanese water or Norwegian water or Iceland water, they got license to kill. Under this condition, we, the human being across the world, to join our hands together to save these gigantic animals of the planet Earth. Otherwise, it is difficult to save these animals from the extinction. With this few words, I thank my Director of Zoological Survey of India and organizer of this particular meet, the officer in charge of Marine Aquarium Computational Center, for inviting me to share my knowledge about the whale, especially in this August forum. I thank you very much. Over to Dr. Devendra.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us so much information in such a small time. So now we are ready for the lecture number 3 that is scheduled for today. This is on the wonders of the toothless sea giant, baleen whales. Before I request Dr. Siva Prasad Parida to present his lecture, a brief biodata I would like to share with all. Dr. Parida, presently working as Associate Professor, Department of Zoology, Centurion University of Technology and Management, Bhubaneswar Campus, Orissa, India. Dr. Parida has a very fascinating and inspiring journey of his academic career. With an MSc with entomology as specialization, he holds an MPhil degree in cell and developmental biology and a PhD on reptilian hematology under the guidance of none other than the renowned herpetologist, Professor Sushil Kumar Datta, who needs no introduction. I have to mention this, that prior to this, Dr. Parida had a degree in automobile engineering. Yes, my dear participants, you heard it right, automobile engineering. And his passion and love for zoology is equally evident because of his immense contribution in the field of life sciences, especially zoology. He has 40 publications in SCI and Scopus Index record journals with 3 books to his credit. With a research experience of 18 years, he has successfully guided many MSc students with their dissertations, about 70 of them, 11 MPhil and 5 PhD. Prior to Centurion University, he served at Regional Museum of Natural History, Bhubaneswar, contributed to collection preservation, exhibit development, and environmental education. He has an immense passion for building up life-size huge animal skeletons from mummified and preserved bones, and has successfully installed the life-size skeletons in many museums, including the Bride's Whale skeleton, which welcomes all the visitors who visit the Marine Aquarium Digha. We will hear it more from Dr. Parida during his lecture about his fascinating passion for the whale skeleton, in fact, for all skeletons as a whole. He has acted as a valuable resource person in many workshops in different academic institutions, research institutions, and zoos. He has also taken active part in wildlife census, while wetland birds, cetaceans, estuarine crocodile, elephant, and tiger censuses, which is organized by Forest Department of Orissa. So without taking much of your time, I now request Dr. Siva Prasad Parida to present his lecture. And we are also now going in YouTube live streaming. So all those who could not join can also see us now through the live streaming. Thank you, Dr. Parida. It's all yours now.
So, thank you, madam. I am audible?
Yes.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everybody present in this webinar. So, I am thanks to Dr. Balakrishnan Usi, MRC ZSI Digha for his invitation, and also Dr. Tudu and Debasri madam. So, it's my great pleasure to thank to Dr. Kailash Chandra sir, Director, Dr. Raghunathan sir, Joint Director, and I am also thankful to Dr. Anil Mahapatra, Jogesh Kumar, Dr. Prasad, Swaroop and all the staffs of the MARC Digha for assembling the whale skeleton. Last but not least, I am also thankful to Dr. Basudev Tripathi and Girija Sethi for their cooperation during my visit to Kolkata and Digha in the taxidermy workshop and the skeleton preparation work. Thank you. And now I am presenting my PowerPoint presentation. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Now it is in. Hello. Sir, is it seen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So the topic, the wonders of the toothless sea giants, baleen whale. This picture, so we prepare under the leadership of the Dr. Anil Mahapatra and all the staffs of JSI Digha. So now I am to the classification of the orders of the cetaceans. So cetaceans are whales, dolphins, and porpoises under different suborder mysticity and odonticity, aquacity. So ancient whales, aquacity are already extinct. So different families under mysticity and odonticity like Balenopteridae, Neobalenopteridae, Balenidae, like that. Then, so this picture I have made for the awareness among the 31 species of cetaceans of India, and it is displayed in the Regional Museum Natural History according to their size and different morphological characters. So these are the baleen whales of the world. Now it is 13 species of the baleen whales are found all over the world. So largest is the blue whale, Balenoptera musculus. So what are the difference between baleen whales and toothed whale, that is mysticity and odonticity? So baleen whales specifically character is the baleen plates here and pair blowhole, and odonticity having the teeth and they have the single blowhole, and mysticity and throat groups are there. So it is very characterized by the baleen whales, the baleen plates. Now next is the blowhole is of the baleen whales and the toothed whale. These are the baleen plates and the tooth, and the blowhole. The blowholes. Okay, next. So the rockwhales of the great whales, 7 species in all, make up the largest family of the baleen whales. All of them in 2 genera have been recorded from Indian waters and protected to the highest level under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. These are the whales. So the word rockwhales is derived from the Old Norse word meaning group throats. These are the group throats. The rockwhales have number of throats pleats for a running along the throats. Yes, sir.
Slides are not.
Yes, sir.
Slides are not visible.
Not visible.
Dr. Balakrishnan.
It is in now.
Yes, sir, we're looking into it.
Please start from the 3rd slide.
Okay,
We are
okay.
unable to see. Yeah.
Okay. Now it will be visible?
Yes.
Sorry, is it visible?
Sir, yours is visible. Please carry on,
Okay,
sir.
okay. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, okay. Okay. So these are the baleen whales of the world, the 13 species of the baleen whale. This photograph I collected from the internet. So the difference of the baleen whales and toothed whale. So here the baleen plates. So the baleen plates are the characteristics of the baleen whales. The note, this is the toothless. So this is the filter feeder giant, and this is the toothed whale. So the blowhole of baleen whales and blowholes of the toothed whale, and the baleen plates of the baleen whale and the teeth of the toothed whale. So the Balaenoptera, the rock whales of the great whales, so 7 species in all make up the largest family of baleen whales. All of them in 2 genera have recorded from Indian waters and are protected to the highest level under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The word rockorals is derived from the Old Norse word meaning group throats. So these are the group throats from mandible to belly. So it engulfs the food like krill and the other food materials. So it is a very powerful swimmer. Blue whale and the fin whale are also be capable at attaining the speed of 37 km per hour. Sei whale is said to travel 65 kilometers per hour in short bursts. So somehow it is said that like cheetah, the fastest animal. So the blubbers, this is the section of a blubber. So blubber serves to keep the whale warm and store energy. The insulation layer of blubber may many centimeters thick, reducing heat loss in cold waters. So whale calves are born without blubber and put it on quickly. So this is the one photograph of another whale, the nursing from the feeding from the mother. So the teats are there near to the genitalia. So the blue whale calf consumes 90 liters of milk in one day. So you can imagine the in the watching whale or the V-shaped spout also visible in the sea, on the surface of the sea. That's why some people are whaling and other thing them doing. So in the tabular form, there are the 4 whales, their size, their blows, their dorsal fin, the characteristics, but in the field identification. So very small dorsal fin, this is anchored, this is long, this is very, looks like hump, and the caudal flick also distinguish them and their diet. Blue whale is the plankton feeder, they diet on the planktons like zooplanktons, phytoplanktons. Fin whale also feed in squids and some schooling fishes like sei whale, humpback whales. So in the field photo, the dead humpback whale, the photographs. This is the humpback whale, and their distribution is worldwide. Habitat pelagic, rarely come to coast area. Feeding habit, filter feeder, conservation status under IUCN list concept. So the humpback whale is charismatic species of large whale that has a truly global distribution, living from Antarctica to Arctic region. They're growing more than 50 feet and weight 40 tons. Their size is possible to species aquatic lifestyle, and the buoyancy, otherwise the size of the animal as large would almost certainly be crossed under its own weight if it is in the land. Like this is the picture of blue whale, very close photograph, and we can imagine the size of a blue whale in comparison to the boat and the human. So it is the underwater. It is also pelagic, rarely coastal. So It is reaching about 110 feet. So one skeleton in New Zealand, that is the 110 feet of blue whale are there in New Zealand. So this was the fin whale. So once I'm showing the photograph in the Gahirmatha coast, one died fin whale. It is very confusing between the fin whale and the blue whale in the dead carcass. So finally, that will be identified. So this is also the worldwide distribution is endangered by the IUCN. This is the second largest animal after blue whale. This is on the sei whale. And sei whale and bright whale is very similar, but the reach of the blue whale from the reach are little different. It has been single and that of the three ridges are there. That's why it is decided the bright whale and sei whale, because according to the size, it's very similar. So sei whale is slender cetacean and more robust than fin whale. This is the, but in the size it will be lesser than the fin whale. So another is interesting is the Omura whales, Balaenoptera omurai, was described a new species in 2003, currently known from whaling and standing specimen primarily from the Western Pacific and Eastern Ocean, Indian Ocean. This species is tropical whale and segregated. So in my studying for the preparation, I got one information from the internet that Omurai whales is also found in Indian waters. So these are the characteristics that they have described in the paper. So this is mother and calf, the photographs collected from internet. So this one the minke whale. So minke whales, the small size baleen whale than other big size, but it was too big. So it is surfacing, galloping in the sea surface. So it was in the dead minke whale. It is very clearly distinguished in the white mark in the flipper. So this is the bright whale. It is in Rusikulia we have cited once this bright whale and many carcasses coming recent last year. I think 3-4 carcasses I have identified with the bright whale. So this is the picture from the internet. It will be clearly distinguished the three ridges here. 1, 2, 3 ridges are the characteristics of the bright whale. So in the feeding and surface breathing in the sea. So in Mandarmani beach, recently in 29 June, the stranded one whale. So the photograph I got, then I am very difficult to identify. Then I tell to Dr. Anil to send the flipper photographs or the head skull photograph, then it will be confirmed. So Dr. Anil also told it is also bright whale. So I told him, so I'll confirm after seeing the head and the flipper. Then they send me the photographs. So the story, the MRC Digha, the 45 feet long whale stranded on December 10, 2012 in Digha. So it will be, they decided it will be structured, retrieve the skeleton and exhibit. Then all the staffs of the JSI Digha and the headquarters, they are very much interested, and whole 4 years they were working after retrieving all the bones. So then fixed, then I called by the OC of the Digha, Dr. Anil Mahapatra. Then I go and prepare the skeleton there. So now I am showing how. So after preservation of the bones. So we are arranging the vertebrae, and here is the skull is broken, and it will take to the place there we assemble here. Here is Dr. Anil. So we fix in the platform, an iron platform we made there in welding. Then fix the skull, broken skull, and the mandibles sitting in that platform. So in the night and rainy time, we fix the entire vertebrae, then shift it into the poles for the stand, for the display. So all the staffs, members, and all the scientists from ZSI and me, everybody, lots of work. I called for 10 days, but we completed it in 5 days, and I'm back. So entire skeleton we fixed there and shifted to the iron bars where we put the stand. So here, so one carpenter, this is the carpenter, he is taking great role for the great help. But we say to, I want this, we'll do accordingly. So this is the ribs sitting in the thoracic vertebrae of that well. So then this is the next day morning, another part will be completed. Then the maxillary was broken, then we fit the maxillary into the skull. After finished, Dr. O'Neill, Dr. Tudu, that carpenter and me are sitting comfortably. Finally, we have completed the job. So this is the some pictures are displayed there also from Digha Coast to MIRC, Marine Aquarium Research Center. It is the for public awareness for the whales. So it is the before one story, that is the Digha story. This is the Bhubaneswar Regional Museum Natural History. It's also a Balliol. It is died in 2010. So the concerned DFO called me and called me for the identification, and we'll bury and put the miss case and bury it. So I told no sir, we'll take it to our museum and retrieve the skeleton. No, this is wildlife things. So we go for the permission and everything. Lastly, we procure. So in the leadership of Dr. G.N. Indresh sir, so I take the opportunity to work on the skeleton. So whole night we cut 12 feet skull. So one night, entire night we spent for the remove the skull. Then after for the 8 days, we are doing retrieving all the skeletons there. So I'm cutting also the blubbers of the whales. Full day and night for 8 days we are retrieving all the bones. So after finished all the work, 2-3 vertebrae at a time, we cut into the small pieces and shipped to our museum, Bhubaneswar Museum. So after reaching Bhubaneswar Museum, then we'll clean manually, then fixed with formaldehyde and preserve it, and it will be displayed. First, it will be in the air for the dry of the skeleton, for the weight loss. And the broken parts.
Dr. Parida,
Yeah.
Dr. Parida, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think the slide is not visible. So maybe you have to pin your, the slide
Okay.
is not really visible. Maybe
Okay,
somebody
okay.
shared the screen in between. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, okay. No, madam, no
Yes.
problem.
And requesting all participants, please not to do the screen presentation. Do not touch that because the presentation will be interrupted then. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Is it now okay, madam?
It's visible now, sir. Thank you. Please carry on, sir.
So in which slide again I will display from the Bhubaneswar.
Yes, sir, you carry on.
Okay. So from the field we collect the bones and transport to the museum. Here we clean again it manually. The fix and preserve the chemical like formaldehydes and bleached, then dried for the water loss and vapor or less weight evaporation of the. Then after fit all the parts of the broken parts and with need the screws and other things. So we have completely mechanical work we did there. So after fixing the cervical vertebra and thoracic vertebra along with the 3 steel rods. So Dr. G. Indra sir is there with me. So after 2 years of the work, so our Chief Minister of Odisha and the Forest Ministers, Agriculture Ministers, the Director NMNH, Dr. Hejmadi, sir, I forgot the advisor of ministry. So they inaugurated that whale skeleton. So this is journey from seashore to museum. So already in this are also in the YouTube channel. He gave a documentary on that. So this is the whale exhibit here in Bhubaneswar. So this is also another bright whale in the Andhra Odisha border. It is stranded, and the forest department request I go and identify the species and the specimen. The whales, the skeleton is in the Chilika, Satpura, that is 42 feet bright whale. So this is another whale in this 2 years back. It is in the Gahirmatha coast, Bhitarkanika. So it is 64.6 or something feet. So I'm confusing. So it is, I think it is a blue whale, but it is V-shaped mandible and head. That's why so confusion the fin whale. Then after I dissect, open the mouth and check the rostrum. Then I confirm it was the fin whale. So in Cetacean Survey Gahirmatha, sometimes I used to go the Bay of Bengal by the speedboat of the forest department with some of my students. One is Bibu and another is Rajesh. They are also interested, my students. So another is that in the Gahirmatha coastals in the dolphin survey, some Iravathi dolphin 36 are there in the population in Gahirmatha Chinchiri mouth area. So you used to go and survey the dolphins, the group. Next is to show the dolphin. I am showing the video clip of dolphins in the field.